guys, I am back with another video, and in this video we're going to be playing Universal Tower Defense, and for this guide video we're going to be delving into relics. So what relics are is basically like armor bonuses and stat bonuses that you could equip on your character, so they go up to 3 on your slot. So headpiece and leg piece and then chest piece. The way to get relics, if you don't know already, is you can get most of them from your story stages, easy, hard, and nightmare. Increasing the difficulty also increases the chance and the rate that you get the relics, as you saw. For your headpiece, you want to go to the virtual realm. The virtual realm only has the headpieces, same thing. Higher difficulty, the more chance you'll be able to get, and the rate you're gonna get as well. But it is pretty hard, so I wouldn't recommend doing Nightmare. I would probably just recommend doing easy for all of them. It is pretty challenging, so make sure you have pretty well-built units. And what I mean by well-built is just make sure you have like a pretty good trait on them, their best in slot trait on them before you do the virtual realm. So basically, how rugs work is that they'll start at level 1. So when you obtain them, they will be level 1. As you can see, this one's the main perk is dot, and I have 5 substats. For substats, they can vary from 3 to 5. For your mythic relics, you want to look for 5 substats because they can vary from 3 to 5. For example, this legendary, I don't have a mythic relic set that has like 3 to 4 substats, so I'm going to use my legendary relic as an example. So as you can see, this one has 2 substats, which I wouldn't recommend you rolling on because as you can see, I have 4 right here and it's level 1. So the difference between leveling up a relic that has only 2 substats and then a relic with like maybe like 4 or 5 is if you were to level up, let's say this one. I'm gonna just level this up. Do not do this if it only has 2 substats. So as you can see, you'll see these new perks, new perk, new perk, new perk, and then perk upgrade. So basically, since I only have 2 substats on this on this piece, it'll use my gold and the level to obtain new substats. You could see new perk, new perk, new perk, and then perk upgrade. What perk upgrades are is, let's say if you were to upgrade a 5 substat main piece, I'm not main piece, 5 substat relic set. As you can see, it'll say perk upgrade, perk upgrade, perk upgrade. Uh, besides, besides new perk, new perk, new perk, because it'll use a level and you don't really want that, right? Because when you enhance it, for example, I'm just gonna enhance it, it'll say it failed, but you don't need to really worry about that. So it enhanced my substats, it enhanced my damage by 1, my effect res by 2, and etc. So I'll just do it again, just to show you. Max out. All right, there you go. So as you can see, it went to my damage again. So basically what it does is that the more if you start off with 5 substats and then you upgrade it, it'll have more chances to upgrade your substats than opposed to like having than opposed to like having or starting off with like 2 substats, which isn't really recommended. I would not recommend rolling on a mythic relic with only 2 sub perks or substats. I would rather just, grind out and get the 5 substats. Another way to get relics is through the AFK chamber. I'll go through it right here. So the AFK world is right here next to the play plus group reward and behind the play arena. You just go inside and you click teleport. And basically what the AFK world does, it basically auto farms it for you instead of using a macro. So you could see these possible rewards. If I were to go to like Hollowed Moon and I would click here, you could see I could get a mythic relic sets and legendaries and whatever, and I could get gems and XP as well. And then I would just click start and it'll say successfully started AFK stage, and I would just leave the computer and then it'll auto farm this for me. So no need for macros, no need for your tiny tasks, no need to set up over and over again. You just need to send through the AFK world to get these relics. Um, though I think it's bugs because the last time I did this, I actually got zero rewards. I only got gems and XP. Even though it said the session rewards, I did get a lot of mythic sets. But unfortunately, it didn't work, so I'm not too sure if it works now. But if someone could tell me if it does work now, let me know in the comments section below. Is this. So as you can see, the UTD Universal Tower Defense Relic Stat bonuses. You can find this in the question channel in the pin comment, and then you'll just scroll down and you can find it. So you could go back to this, or you could just go back to this video, and then I have it right here. So as you can see, it'll show you all the bonuses that you get from having each set. So if I have, for example, let's say this, I have actually no, that's actually a bad example. I could use, yeah, these two. So Junior Ninja Jacket and Junior Ninja Pants. If I have these two equipped, it'll activate the full sec perk, which is 5% damage and 10% wind damage. So as you can see, 5% damage and 10% wind damage if I equip both the body and the legs. The head has its own set, so you don't need to worry about that. So this one increases receive buffs by 1.1x and etc. So you can just take a quick read at this. I would highly recommend farming for bleach the bleach set. The bleach set is pretty good, mainly because you get true damage and you get a lot of damage and armor damage. Armor damage is like really useful, especially if you want to farm the Ragna boss or the Ragna event. That boss has a lot of armor starting off. So if you have this set, it is actually pretty decent. Another decent set that's a little bit worse, but in my opinion, but it is Laughing Captain. The body and leg set is 5% damage, minus 50% cooldown, and 5% range. This one is kind of okay. It's more for like characters that need cooldown and need a little bit more range, but I still wouldn't really recommend this. I would mainly look at the Bleach set because it does give more damage and more, just overall, just more benefits, and it's way better than the One Piece set and the Naruto set, in my personal opinion. Um, as for X Captain Urahara, you can see you get 10% critical rate or critical chance and 25% critical damage. So how crit rate works is that it doesn't apply to characters that don't already have crit rate. So for example, my Sung Jin Woo right here, he has okay, that's actually not a good example. Where's the crit rate set? Okay, so if I were to equip this on my Sung Jin Woo, and then I would go to my Sung Jin Woo and check his stats. This is how you could see your stats as well from your thing. You could see that I don't see crit rate. Like you only see crit damage, but you don't see crit rate, even though I selected a crit rate piece on my Sung Jin Woo. The reason for this is because crit rate, the stat, only applies to characters that have passive crit rate. So the only way to get passive crit rate is if a character already has inbuilt crit rate, or they have the duelist trait, which gives 25% crit rate. As you can see, my Kirito has the crit rate piece that I just put on my Sungju, and it did not show the extra crit rate it gets. But now, since my Kirito has Duelist, it now has extra crit rate because of that. Uh, because of that trait. The trait allows me to have crit rate, right? And also, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Kirito also has inbuilt crit rate. You can see if you get him to etherealized level 4, you get 20% crit rate. So he's basically meant for duelists, so it doesn't really matter. But still, that's another thing to note, and that's why I don't really recommend you going crit rate main stats for characters that don't have inbuilt crit rate. You could check if they have inbuilt crit rate if you just check their ethereal level, where you can see like their damage stats and etc. and stuff like that, right? So mainly the pieces that you want to go is just damage main stat and or SPA main stat. But I would just recommend just going into high damage, only high damage main stat or high dot if you have a dot character. Because the main reason why I say that is because, for example, for a character like Ragna, Ragna has a lot of SPA, and that's why I put a lot of points into SPA. This is a little bit too much. I might put like maybe 20 into maybe like 20 into strength, and then maybe like the rest into SPA. You don't want to go SPA on your relic sets because you're missing out on that potential damage, that 60% more damage on your main stat as you saw here. Where is it? Yeah, 60% damage. That is a lot of damage percent, and it's a percent amount. It's not flat. So that's a lot of damage that you could be having for like high SPA characters. So that's why I would recommend if you have Ragna and you want to use Ragna a lot, I would recommend putting most of your stats into cooldown because of that reason, because Ragna has a lot of SPA. And the main way, in my personal opinion and my personal recommendation, is to put most of your stats into cooldown. But for a character like Sung Jin Woo, he naturally has um less SPA, so that's why I can put all my stats into damage. And that's it for the video. I know I did this kind of quickly. I know Relics is like kind of a wishy-washy subject right now. It's being changed constantly. You know, there's problems with it. There's some good and bad with it. For casual players, I wouldn't really recommend focusing on the side perks or the substats. Just mainly look at the main perks because it does take a while. Let me be honest. It does take a while to even get a piece because the rates are so bad. I'm struggling to even get maybe one or two pieces. Um, when I get on and do some story runs, I struggle on getting these relic pieces because the rates are so low. And this is not just for the relics. This is for like almost everything, like the fragments, like the evil materials in the legend stages. It's just so hard to get that I wouldn't really recommend hard grinding this. Like there are better alternatives for you to grind, like virtual world. You get like a lot of benefits if you farm enough for virtual world. You could get Sakuya or Scarlet Maid and some evil materials and etc. Like I would highly recommend farming like these other like pathways or whatever you want to call it instead of just grinding out relics. I just want to let you guys know right now, relics is end game. You do not need to worry about it right now. It is not that important. You could put whatever you want on your characters. Just make sure it's like decent for them and they could use it properly, right? You don't want dot on Song Jin-woo because he doesn't do dot, right? Just make sure you know what you're doing for the main stat at least, right? I would put either legendaries or mythics on your characters. Don't really grind it out. Like I'm just saying, like it just takes way too long and the rates are so horrible and it's just not worth it. So just I recommend you, if you want to get off, you go. If you want to sleep, try the AFK world. If it works, it works. I don't know what happened to mine. Maybe it bugged out, but we'll see. If anyone else has any recommendations on what guides I should make, maybe it's for a different game, or maybe it's just Universal Tower Defense, or maybe Dragon Ball Z Final Sand. If you guys have questions or just want me to make certain guide videos, just let me know down in the comments, and I will 100% uh, follow through with your comment. And like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.